Hey guys, it's Megan Renee here. Hope you're having an amazing day so far. I am your go-to for self-care. Do not forget to subscribe, and so you can get notifications when I come on every Thursday to give you tips on how to improve your self-care routines. So today we are going to talk about 10 affirmations to start improving your self-esteem. Now, if you are the kind of person that likes to read things, I also have written a blog post. You can find that at meganrenee.com. I'm going to put it down in the notes as well, so you can easily click on it and read it. But just so you know, I'm giving you a couple different options on how to get this information today. All right. So, self-esteem, right? You've heard me talk about how it's such a broad topic. I do like to remind you of that because I know it can be really overwhelming. And so you'll hear me repeat that a lot. And so before we begin talking about the 10 affirmations, I do want to give you a little bit of background of where low self-esteem can come from. I think it's important to know where things originate, right? Because if we don't know where they come from, how are we really going to know where we need to start and what work needs to be done? Okay. So the first way is through past trauma. So trauma can look like many different things. And I may even do a video just on trauma. That in itself is can be a whole entire series because there's so many of us walking around with trauma that is unresolved. And so trauma can be any kind of abuse. There's several different kinds of abuse, physical, sexual, financial abuse, verbal, emotional. Okay. Trauma can also look like Hurricane Katrina or Hurricane Harvey. It's anything that has left you feeling uneasy, where you're having flashbacks, you're having nightmares, you may have PTSD from it. Okay, so trauma can look like many different things. Trauma can even be going through a divorce, losing a baby, losing a child. So keep that in mind. There can be a lot of different things. Now, if you went through trauma as a child, can you imagine if you'd never resolved that, how that can be affecting your life now as an adult? Imagine walking around with this huge weight on your shoulders. That's what unresolved trauma feels like on a daily basis. So, something that has not been taken care of, has not been processed. You haven't gotten help for it. You just kind of pushed it aside and said, it happened, so what? I don't think it's affecting me, or maybe you do know it's affecting you, but you don't quite know how to go about fixing it, and healing from it. That doesn't have to be your life, okay? So that's the first way, past trauma. The second way is having either neglectful or overly critical parents. So neglectful parents look like when you were younger, they really didn't spend a lot of attention or time with you. It kind of left you feeling like I wasn't really wanted to begin with. They don't have time for me. I'm in the way or I'm a burden. Okay. Can you imagine how that would feel as a child? And then carrying that with you, because I've seen some people as adults, because they were made to feel that way as a child, now they feel like that in their romantic relationships or with their friendships, like I'm in the way. So they kind of shrink back, fade in, blend in with the wall. So I had mentioned also overly critical. So that's the kind of parent that only says something to you when you've made a mistake, minimizes your accomplishments, but over exaggerates mistakes that you've made, or maybe you got a B and you did instead of getting an A. And so, those things are over exaggerated. They really only pay attention to you when you're doing something that they feel is wrong. All right. Unrealistic expectations is another one. And that's huge because we end up setting ourselves up for failure. So you can have unrealistic expectations set on you by your parents. I've also seen it where people set it on themselves as a young child. They say, my parents really weren't hard on me. I was really hard on myself. And then you continue and you carry that through adulthood. And so what that does is, you've made these goals for yourself that are extremely hard to meet. You don't break them down into small, attainable goals. And then when you don't accomplish them, you feel like a failure and you get angry with yourself. So it's kind of a lose lose situation. And when you're hard on yourself, chances are you are very hard on other people in this world as well. And that is going to cause disappointment because we know that people are not going to be perfect. People are going to make mistakes and you are going to be disappointed, right? So, unrealistic expectations. The next one is comparisons and issues with body image. So, I love social media. It has been a blessing as far as my business is concerned, and I'm so grateful to it. I think it's amazing that we can now run businesses strictly from the internet, from your house. It's amazing. However, just like with anything else, you really need to guard what you take in. If you see yourself mindlessly scrolling through social media, before we know it, an hour has passed. And then if you're looking at things and comparing yourself to other people, you find yourself being in this place of comparison, feeling low and feeling like you're inadequate and you don't measure up to whatever the standards, of beauty are, whatever that is, right? And so that's also how we start comparing ourselves to other women and their bodies and, oh, she just had a baby and how has she already lost all this weight? And so we start doing that thing. Okay. And so I just want to, I just want you to recognize that with anything, like with anything else, take it in moderation. It's a great tool if you use it the way that needs to be used for. Okay. But if you find yourself getting down on yourself about things, then you probably need to take a step back and take a little break from it. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the 10 affirmations that can improve your self esteem. An affirmation is a true positive statement. Now, the one I'm going to give you, I have seen affirmations where they start with I am, okay? But the ones I'm going to give you are not only the I am statements, there are other ones too. So I want you to know that you can mix it up a little bit, and that's okay. As long as they're positive, it doesn't matter, okay? So the first one is I am capable. The second one is I am in control. I want you to know that you probably have more control over a situation than you give yourself credit for. The reason why that's so big is because a lot of times you say, I can't help it, I can't control it, but you can. You'll need to remind yourself of that though, because your mind will play tricks on you and make you think that you can't control something or you are a victim of a situation. Flip that. Make it, I'm a survivor of something, I'm a warrior of something, and I do have more control than I think. The next affirmation is these feelings will pass. So kind of think of it as like a wave, okay? Like in the ocean. They come up on shore and they go away. They may feel really intense at the time, but these emotions will eventually pass. People that don't like to cry because they're afraid that they'll never stop, you will stop. That emotion of sadness will eventually either dissipate, meaning it will lessen, or it will go away completely. Let yourself feel that though. That's the biggest thing. Okay. So just remind yourself, these emotions will pass. I can get through this just like I did before, is the next affirmation. So I use this one a lot with myself and with my clients. I remind myself that I got through something before. That means I can get through this now. And it was much more difficult the last time, which means I got this. It's in the bag. The next one is I am creative. We now talk about people that are creatives, which I love that term because I think it really describes kind of this new generation of people, all ages, all different ethnicities and backgrounds, and I love it. Remind yourself that you are creative, and creativity looks different for everybody. It doesn't just mean I'm a painter or a drawer. It means you're an entrepreneur, you're a visionary, you have ideas that are outside of the box. There's so many different ways to be creative. The next one is I have improved. Think about where you were and where you are now. You got to think about, even if it's small progress, it's progress. That's all we're looking for, not perfection. Okay? This is only a season. What you're going through right now, Maybe you need to go through it right now in order to get, to a better place in the near future. But it doesn't have to be forever. Remind yourself that this is not forever. This situation will eventually go away. I will get out of it. I will conquer it. It's not forever. The next affirmation is I am prepared. Remind yourself of that. You hear me saying a lot. Remind yourself. These need to become mantras in your everyday life, okay? Meetings. I see people get really stressed out over meetings. If they're in school, quizzes, tests, presentations. All you can do is prepare. And then after that, you got to trust yourself and trust your ability and trust your knowledge and your skill set and what you've been preparing for all this time. You're ready. So remind yourself, I am prepared. I've done the things I need to do in order to get ready for this day. The next one is I can. And the last one is today will be better than yesterday. Today was horrible, or I'm sorry, yesterday was horrible, but I woke up today and I have air in my lungs, the sun is shining, and I'm going to make today much better than yesterday. And I'm going to be intentional about making it better. It's not just going to happen, you guys. It's a choice, and you really got to work at it, but it's going to be better than yesterday. So today, I want you guys in the notes below, I want you to tell me out of the 10 affirmations I gave you, I want you to pick 3, okay? And then those 3, I want you to repeat them to yourself for the next week 3 times. When you wake up in the morning, say them. I am in control. I am capable. I am creative. And repeat them. Eventually, you'll begin to believe them. I want you to get into the practice of doing that, okay? Write them on your mirror, put up sticky notes, whatever you need to do to remind yourself to say these things on a daily basis. And in the notes below, I want you to tell me which ones you've chosen, or if you even have some. I'd love to know because the possibilities are endless. So thanks, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next Thursday.